Okay, so now it's time to move on to the next part. And the next part we're going to do is the head, because it does have a couple steps to do, because we want to do two things. One, we want to light it, and we want to magnetize the front so we can switch between the faceplates. So what we've done here is, again, I was thinking about putting two LEDs, one for each eye. This side would be blocked when it's on the Gorkanaut, so it would just be the one shining through. And then they would both show through. I might even enlarge the other eye hole here a little bit for the Gorkanaut. And then I'd also block off the noses so those don't light up, so it's just the eyes. So there's not a whole, fortunately this seems to be pretty good. So let's go on here and try to figure out exactly where these things are going to go. This is actually a very nice piece to work on, being split perfectly in half like that. So what I'm going to do, can we get some idea of where I want to put the, oh, that's not going to reach in there. That's something that's, oh. Perfect. So now I got a good idea of where the eyes are going to be, so I'm going to put the LEDs right behind there. And since it's nice split in half, it's so nice. I can just wire them up, drill them out, wire them up, and then when I'm done, glue them together and work on the magnets. Couldn't be easier, a better setup for this. So what I'm going to do, grab some drill bits and vise here. So I did want to go with the 3mm LED. Which is 1/8 inch. Okay, so on this side, so that punt was right there, so I'm going to move it over a little bit here. Basically right in the middle. Yeah, I think I'll make that eye hole on the Gorkanaut head face a little bit bigger. Okay. Quick swap out. I also was thinking about going red, but it turns out I don't have any, or green. I want to go green eyes, but I don't have any 3mm green LEDs. I don't feel like ordering any. So I will go with red, because that's what I've got. Now red are 2-volt LEDs. Now the blue one I used on the KFF is a 3-volt, so I was able to go straight to the 3-volt battery box. I was using a test with the 2 AAAs. Of course, I'm going to be running 4.5 volts when it's on the final build, so there's going to be resistor on that when that time comes. That's pretty good. Not perfect, which is not supposed to be. I like it. So I'm going to grab my soldering bucket here, my organizer with all my LED stuff. A couple of 3mm red LEDs. You know what? I haven't even opened this package yet. Which ones I bought them without using them? It's not that uncommon for me to do something like that, because these things are just so cheap that there's no reason not to just buy a bunch of them at once. And you organize them by color. Okay, so we have one on each side. That's perfect fit in there. Oh yeah, see, that's going to be nice. So we do want to see. I'm not worried about that side. See, this is a little bit bigger, so I will have to glue those in. Let's see here, the question is, how does that look? Does this interfere with the face? Nope, not at all. Great. So I can glue them all the way up to the front without having any interference. So what I'm going to do next, I guess, is I do want to test these things. So what we're going to need to do is get a resistor to run from the 3-volt battery box into the 2-volt LEDs. And So let's go to the resistor calculator and see what we need, and see if I have one. Okay, so here we are. We want to look at the LED, so we're going to just go LED resistor calculator. So when you buy an LED, it's going to have two stats. It's going to have a voltage and it's going to have a current. Most standard LEDs, the 3mm, the 5mm, and the SMTs, are going to be 20 milliamps. So, and once you start getting up to bigger LEDs, then you'll have bigger voltages, or bigger LEDs. You'll get bigger currents. Diode forward voltage for the red ones are 2, and our source voltage is 3. So you calculate it, you get 56 ohms. I unfortunately do not have a 56 ohm resistor, but we can use, so now I'm going to do a parallel resistor parallel calculator. Again, everything you need, you don't need to memorize any of this, because all this stuff you can just, so let's say if we've got two 100 ohm resistors in parallel, that's 50 ohms. Perfect, that's exactly what we need. So those important things when you are buying your LEDs, you need to make sure you record the stats of them. I mean, generally the colors are going to be, for a given color, the stats are going to be the same, the voltage, but that's not always true. And again, if you're just sticking with the small LEDs, they'll always be 20 milliamps. And bigger ones get more expensive, get higher current. And also, knowing the current draw of the LEDs means you'll be able to know how much of a power supply you're going to need if you plug it into the wall. So like, if you get a 1 amp power supply, that's up to 50 LEDs at 20 milliamps each. So, when I was doing like the helicarrier, the power supply I was able to find is 2 amps, which was more than enough for everything I had powering off that. So, we'll go back, desk down, and we will get these things wired. Okay, back tabletop down. So here we got my 200 ohm resistors, and we're just going to do a quick test here. Make sure this does work and light up the LED as it's supposed to. Perfect. So what we're going to do is go ahead and wire these things up. So what we're going to use is some magnet wire. And the difference between a magnet wire and normal wire is that instead of having a plastic or whatever, nylon or whatever synthetic material this is, coating on there, what a magnet wire has is a baked enamel insulation. So you'll actually have them in several colors. So I bought this big spool of red right here, very thin. And this also becomes very thin because it's designed for winding magnets. This stuff I think is 32 gauge or something ridiculous like that. And for LEDs it doesn't matter because they're just not carrying that lot of current. So, you know, when they're only 20 milliamps each, that's more than enough for what this magnet wire can handle. So, see, I got several different gauges of this here. Now, when I do the actual hookup, I will probably be using more hookup wire, standard hookup wire. For now, the magnet wire, just to get them out of the back of the head, will be fine. What's that gauge? I don't know. I forgot. So, we'll just take, and since they are the same, I can just do one set of wires coming out of the back of the head. Okay, so solder. So when it comes to the enameling, you can either scrape it off with a knife, or you can burn it off with a soldering iron. Either way is effective. So we're just going to take a length of this, don't need very long. It'll get adapted to its normal hookup wire once it makes it into the body of the Gorkanaut. So we've got all these supplies here. You'll find that the more you get into this, the more and more stuff you're going to want. Just like anything else. So let's go. There's my neck. So see, it's green. Well, you probably can't see anything here on the camera, but just going to scrape off enamel coating here on the end of the wire. Okay, so let's see, how do I want to do this exactly? Yeah, see, these probes are nice and long. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually glue these things in first. So one thing to note is that these are plastic, and normal super glue will fog them up. So you either have to hot glue or get the special super glue that's foam safe, which also happens to be clear parts safe. This is Bob Smith Industries Super Gold Plus. I use this pretty much all the time. It's like double the price of regular super glue, but it said it's foam safe, it won't eat foam, and it will not fog clear plastic. So it makes it perfect for LEDs, windows, and generally it's just really, really good stuff. Probably the best super glue I've ever used, period, of any kind. So we'll get that glued in. Okay, so while I was fiddling in with this, I noticed that there's these little notches here on the back around this hole. So what I did is kind of carve out the notches just a little tiny bit, and it leaves me just enough room to slip the wires from the LEDs through there, so I can keep them completely separated from each other, guaranteed. And right next to each other for quick and easy soldering. So I think I'll just do that. So I'm going to glue this together. And yeah, I'll probably melt some plastic while I solder that stuff together, but that's fine. They're right next to each other, so I think everything will be good to go. So I'm just going to grab, I'll just use the super glue because I don't have to wait for the plastic glue. And I better do the plastic glue. That way I can take it apart if I need to. Okay. So I'll just get these two. Make sure those wires stay in the notches. Just like that. Perfect. Touch. Again, it might melt the plastic a little bit, but it's nothing I'm going to complain about. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and even if I have to carve some of the plastic out of the back here, because you're never going to see it anyway once it's assembled. You always want to solder to solder. So that's why you put solder on everything beforehand, because you want to solder to solder, not solder to wire. Okay, let me grab some of the red stuff here for the positive. Actually, no, I'm going to use the clear stuff. This is a little bit thicker, a little easier to work with. I only use the very thin stuff when I absolutely have to. This coating on here is copper colored. It's just that copper colored. You still have to scrape the enamel off. This is like 26 gauge magnet wire, which is absolutely perfect for most applications of this. So yeah, I'm just going to take the solder here, turn the end of the wires. Downside of this stuff is it gets really hot really fast. You're trying to hold it. Unfortunately, it cools off very fast because there's not much thermal mass to it. Okay. So I'm gonna get some solder on my. Now these test LEDs here are just for the testing. They will be replaced with the proper 150 ohm LEDs, which is what you need when you're running 2 volts off. 4.5 by the LED resistor calculators. And you know, the LEDs do have all those color codes. But again, all that, you don't really need to memorize that stuff because all that stuff is online. Okay, so I really hope this works. I don't want to have to take this back apart again. There we go. Being a beauty. See what it looks like here with the Gorkanaut head on. I call that just about perfect. Okay, so now the next thing we have to do is magnetize it. Okay, we are done with the solder part, I do believe. So there's quite a bit of space back there. So what I think we're going to do, but fortunately there's also a gap right there, right over the nose, which is perfect. So we also know exactly where the face is going to be by the bar here, so we don't have, or the head, I mean. So we know we don't have to put the magnet below that. I think I'll just put the magnet right below the nose. And we don't need a lot of gripping power because this isn't going to be anything that's going to be under heavy load. It's not going to be carrying anything heavy. So I think we're just going to grab 1/8 by 32nd. Two of those go on the face plates, and a 1/8 by oh, that's my screwed up one. Actually, that would probably work. Yeah, I'll grab a regular one, new one. And a 1/8 by 1/16 for gluing to the face plate or to the head itself. And I think this should probably fit in there just fine without having any interference. Let's find out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put those in there. Sometimes working with these magnets is kind of annoying. Okay, so let's see here. Does that fit in there? Yeah, that'll be perfect. Okay. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the super glue. And just right here at the bottom, I'm going to glue down the 1/8 by 1/16. Okay, just remember that. There seems to be something magnetic in metal inside the diodes, which is preventing the magnet from going where I want it to. Kind of little problems you have sometimes. What we need to do, I'm going to stick it into glue. Just need to hold it there for a few minutes until it sets. So this is going to be very boring, because I have to hold this magnet right here until the glue sets. So I'm going to pause the video again here. Okay, so now we're in pretty good shape here. Got the magnet in there, and I reinforced it with a couple pieces of plastic. And so now what I'm going to do is glue the thinner magnets to the other side, right behind the nose here, and blocking the nose and making sure there's nothing in the way here. Just going to make sure the polarity is right, which we do through my wonderful stick. Okay, there we go. Make sure it doesn't stick down below the level there. So we're going to do that on each of them. No clarity right. Oh, that's interesting. That actually does go all the way across. That's fine. Those lines are definitely going to be part of what's going to be holding it in. Okay. So we're going to take some scrap plastic here and reinforce the sides a little bit. That way we don't have to worry about too much. Oh no! My wire fell off. I'm gonna have to fix that real quick. So I might still carve this eye out a little bit more. I've got the soldering iron back, which I already unplugged. So yeah, one thing you're definitely going to have to do if you ever want to do any lighting is get a soldering iron or station or something. Now, for something cheap like, easy to do like LEDs, a cheap soldering station will be more than sufficient. You don't need to get yourself anything fancy. So, I mean, so while the cheapest, Chinese soldering station isn't something you're going to want for professional electronics, for, as I said, for just doing LEDs to each other like this, it's more than sufficient. So I'm just going to get the positive wire resoldered to the back here. This may not have been tinned well enough. Oh, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot. Okay, so I need to have something to hold this on where I don't burn my fingers. Okay, it's just trying to do this 30 gauge wire, or 28 gauge wire here. My hand was not working. Okay, there we go. Okay, that should probably give us enough time here. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, once again, let's hook it up to the battery box. What is it doing that for? The fun part of video production, right? Perfect. And then we can just take that off. Just one eye. Absolutely freaking perfect. Okay. So there is the Gorkanaut head magnetized. You know what? I don't know. It's kind of creepy when taking that faceplate off. Reminds me of the old Fembots from the $6 Million Man Bionic Woman show in the 70s. With the... Anyway, if you're most of you are probably too young to remember that, but that creeped me the crap out as a kid. It was those guys, it was those Fembots. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely freaking perfect. Okay, so that's the next step of the Gorkanaut.